Hello, everybody, and I'm back again. This is Denny. Sorry I haven't made a video for quite some time, but unfortunately, COVID got me. So here I am, and I thought I might catch you up with some of the things that I have actually seen this year so far, and I've seen a lot of good things this year. So one of the things that has been of great interest to me has been the topic of engagement, and I know it's a topic that everyone who's teaching needs to think about and is thinking about quite seriously. I hear a lot from teachers that they find it very difficult to engage children in their learning, and children are difficult to engage in learning because, in many ways, what we are expecting of them is not in keeping with their interests, let's say. So, what I mean by that is that children have a range of interests these days which are a little bit different to the ones that we use to facilitate their learning. So let's talk about that for a minute. What I'm actually trying to say here is that it is possible to engage children, but it's very difficult to engage children when you're trying to implement the curriculum in a very regimented way. So I guess in a way my message here is really for the people who are the movers and shakers of curriculum, and to offer some expertise in the ways that it can be delivered. Now, I am seeing, I have to say, a lot of what I would call, I think it's curriculum ignorance, actually, and it worries me. There are gaps which are not fillable, actually, by just teaching and learning in a classroom. These gaps are cultural. They're not just cultural, there's socioeconomic gaps. We've got all kinds of gaps which actually impinge upon the ability of teachers and even the potential for students to comply or to reach the levels that they pertain to, should be reaching. Told they should be reaching. So let's just clarify that a little bit. What are we here to teach for? What's the reason that we're teaching? And the reason that we're teaching is actually so that we improve people's lives and to also allow them opportunities. So if you're making a failure of a person every day, and it's not really their fault, and it's not even your fault, is that really helpful to them? Are you doing your job? Well, yes, you're doing your job because that's the job you're being asked to do and you're accountable for it. So it's really hard when you're a teacher not to do the job the way that you've been told to do it. So where does this leave us? It leaves us, I think, with trying to explain to a few people who are making some decisions for us that actually it's not working. It does work for some people, but it's not working for everyone. And let's backtrack a little bit further as well, because you need to look at who our teachers are and what their experiences are. And are they in keeping with what we need for teachers? Do they motivate children? Are they inspiring? And one of the things that I do see a lot of is I see that we do have a need, and we know we have a need for more teachers. So we're grabbing teachers from everywhere we can get them. And that's it's really unfortunate because the situation that we have is one which requires experienced teachers. And experienced teachers won't touch this with a barge pole. Actually, a lot of experienced teachers have just walked away, haven't they? We know that. So why don't we ask ourselves why that happened? And it might be that actually their professionalism came into question. And that's rather awkward when you've spent your whole life working out how to do something really well, and you do it really well, and then suddenly you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So, and that can happen in any field, really. It's not just teaching. It can happen in any field. but we need to look at how we retain that expertise. We need to look at how we retain the expertise, and we also do the upskilling. So I guess that's something that I want to talk about further. And I also want to return to the notion of engagement, because if you don't have the right personality, the right background, the right experiences, if you're not a scintillating, reasonably motivating person, if you're not fairly positive, you're probably not really going to excite children. Children need people with imagination. They need creativity. They need spontaneity at times. They need people who wonder at the world, which is one of the reasons that the IB curriculum has been so successful. And you may think that it's not successful, but actually with children and in learning, it is successful, and it does engage children in a very independent style of learning. So I actually wholeheartedly back it up. I guess the only proviso, even though I'm wholehearted, but I guess the only proviso I would have is that we have to worry only about things that turn into commercial ventures. But you can't blame people for making money when they have an idea. So there you go. Engagement, I think, is something that we need to talk to children about. I think if you talk to children, you will begin to understand that they don't think what we think as adults. Now, I'm an older adult, and if you're younger than me and you're listening to this, you've probably got a little bit better show of understanding where children are coming from. But actually, if you don't have children of your own, if you don't, and that's not something that's preclusive, that you can't be a teacher unless you have children of your own. That's not true, but it helps to understand the development of the child and how that takes place. So all of those things. If you're not very confident about yourself, if you don't know who you are, it's hard in a classroom. It's hard to actually reel those kids in and get them interested. And you need to respond in very appropriate ways to their suggestions and make sure that you are listening to what they say and it's not top down. So it's not a rant. It's just a straight out, I hope this helps. And I will make some more videos and give you a few more examples. I'd like to give you some strategies. Please feel free to like and subscribe, because I want to make a lot of videos that will actually be helpful to you. And don't be afraid in your classroom. Sometimes you have to stretch the rules a little bit to get what you need to get.